What is going on? Welcome into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at the energy for the next week, the 17th through the 23rd, via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. I'm kind of tight for space here, bear with me, but we are in the final week of Leo season, and we're actually ending this week on a new moon in Virgo, which is really exciting. I love new moon energy because it really gives us an opportunity to kind of take a step back, assess what's going on, what's working for us, where are there some disconnects playing out, and making adjustments and plans accordingly, right? Like kind of readjusting our intentions around dynamics that we're either trying to like manifest, draw into our life, or situations, relationships that we need to kind of transition how dynamics are playing out. Leo season has definitely had its ups and downs. It's a lot about connecting with a new way of empowering ourselves or finding ways to really believe in ourselves, for lack of a better way to say it. Recognizing that like not everything is going to come easily. Sometimes we get used to instant gratification or receiving, whatever our goals, our dreams are quite quickly. And so much of how the collective, how the astrology has been playing out has been a lot of messages of slow down, take your time, really vet who and what you're committing to, making sure that you have all the information, making sure that you're actually kind of weighing it against whether it is valuable or not. And again, that kind of goes back into that new moon in Virgo energy I was just talking about. So I like to start the readings off with an energy cleansing, just set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places where we might be coming into some blocks or limitation. It's a really good time to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over, be open to receive. It really is a great way to personalize these collective readings. I also will be keeping my eye on the chat. Going live to me is very new, so please be patient. If I don't necessarily respond, I'm a little bit like an 80-year-old woman when it comes to social media and technology and all that. So just know I'll try to keep my eye on it. If you have any questions or, want to contribute to the reading, I would love to, cultivate honor community. So know that's available as well, but please don't be offended if I don't see it or if it takes me a really long time. I will get my bearings. I promise. It might just take me a minute. So with that, let's get into it. If you want to connect, I offer a variety. I don't know if I said this already, but I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it fares, or if you are just looking for more of a realignment of self, your mind, body, soul. I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are honoring ourselves, taking care of ourselves, tuning into our wants, our needs, and honoring that as well. That's really where we're able to build a strong foundation and manifest our happiness, our fulfillment, our abundance. And I would love to help support that for you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, with that, let's get into the blessing and then we will pull some cards. All right. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being. so that we may see and understand the messages clearly and help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right, so I do get this energy. We've kind of had this very anticipatory energy lately, meaning like excited, looking forward to what is on the horizon. There is this really beautiful minor grand trine in the astrology right now that is lending that positivity, that hopefulness, this, belief that things are going to ultimately work out for good, even if it's not the easiest right now or we find ourselves in some messier situations. As Pluto has moved into and settled in Aquarius, it really is revamping, reshuffling our life. And so some of those choices are about change or for a need for change are being made for us. And some of those we actually have to proactively make for ourselves. Unfortunately, we're starting off the week with Saturn energy. So this is that value of the lesson for the sake of the lesson, right? It's not like, Saturn is considered the celestial taskmaster. So it's just the planet that makes you do the work, like I was saying, and learn those lessons. And right now it is in Aries on top of Neptune, and both Neptune and Saturn are in retrograde. So that's part of where we're seeing that slow your roll. Because if we move too quickly, we're going to miss, I don't know what's up with my words. Let me slow down. If we move too quickly, we're going to miss key pieces of information that are very important. And this is all about 100%. Like basically, this is really talking about our overarching energy this week, that we have to shift who and what we're working with in order to make things work, in order to bring in this prosperity. And it looks like you're coming from a place where, like, I do feel like you're keeping tabs on people, on situations. Beginning of the week, we have more transits manifesting in the astrology, which is keeping us on our toes. It goes back to that energy that I was feeling in the very beginning from you, of like, you're waiting to see how maybe some of the hard work that you've put in to date is going to pan out, whether it is actually going to be a good thing or not, if it's actually taking root, right? If it's actually going to be something that's going to grow and expand. I feel like you have been working very diligently at something very specific, something that feels like it's going to bring in a lot for you. It's the beginning. This prosperity card often reminds me of the Ace of Pentacles, like that beginning of something good. And even if maybe you didn't have all the pieces right in the beginning, you're starting to connect with this dream, this desire in a whole new way. I feel like right now you might be seeing where the disconnects are, right? Like this to me, knowledge is in your blocked energy this week. So it reminds me that, like, sometimes we think we're a little further ahead than what we want to be. Hence why this is coming up as, okay, now I'm seeing that there are some holes, to whatever capacity, whether it's just things aren't moving how you wanted it to, the connections that you are making, or, if you're mending something, healing something in a relationship, maybe it's just like not getting off on the right foot, that type of vibe. It feels like things are not being blocked, but we're being forced to look at the lesson as a whole, right? We can't just like run through things right now. We have to actually do the work. I know I've said that a lot, and I know that's not popular or fun for that matter, right? But this is about bringing balance into your own life, right? There's a reason why we do the hard work. Hard work is very gratifying, right? Even though, yes, it would be nice to get that proverbial jackpot, it doesn't always happen. And then sometimes it just like doesn't feel as good, right? Because then we're on to the next thing. So you've had to make changes, and I think, okay, so this is specifically about relationships in your life. People and situations that have been a little bit shady or not honest, not forthright with what their intentions are. There's something around this that feels really annoying, but I think that this is not as much your energy as it is like someone that you're dealing with. I feel like this is someone who's actually kind of brought in some annoyance and some burden to whatever capacity, whether it's just like they're saying stupid things, like things you don't want to hear, things that feel disrespectful. Mercury has been in retrograde. It went direct. It was highlighting where those disconnects are in relationships. And then since Mars has moved into Libra, which is about partnership. So it's like we took the learning lesson of Mercury retrograde, really seeing who is being honest and who is not. And then we're using that information to better situate ourselves with partnerships, with dynamics, with people that are willing to work together, right? But there still is this learning curve that's happening this week, unfortunately. And beginning of the week, I feel like you're seeing that. I feel like this Seven of Swords, it might not be something completely like, oh, someone's keeping this big bad secret from you and you're screwed. I don't get that energy. I feel like this is just more things that are playing out behind the scenes. This is stuff that's yet to be revealed. Someone does have something to say, and I do feel like they do want to come forward, but they're not really sure how they're going to make this happen quite yet. Because again, there's a lot of hard work in front of us, right? There's some things that are kind of happening that like we have to let go. We have to release the toxicity. We have to be willing to like acknowledge where the toxicity is coming from. Not in a way to point the finger and blame per se. If it's valid, then let it be so. But at the same time, making sure that we're not like skeeting out of our responsibility, because Seven of Swords can be hiding on either end, you know, and this is the energy that's like, it does feel a little bit like whatever you're dealing with, wherever some of this annoyance, frustration, emotions are coming into play, there isn't a lot of conversation. And someone doesn't really know what to do. Someone's having a hard time handling this. It also looks like they're looking for ways to begin again or make a new offer. It is soulmate energy. So this is something that you are meant to learn a lesson with in this lifetime, however that fits for you. It doesn't have to be romantic. It does look like things are on shaky ground. And I feel like whomever, whatever you are dealing with knows this, right? They know that they kind of have to get their act together with whatever that means. And I feel like this is part of why maybe they're trying to stay hidden in the background, or they're not making their intentions known because they want to gather all the pieces of information first. They want to know whether it's worth it or not. And for you, I don't know, this feels like something that you've put on the back burner with the Seven of Pentacles. Like, I don't even feel like it might be coming into your mind, into your whatever, as you contemplate, as you think things through. You might be like thinking about this every once in a while, but it doesn't really feel like it's in the forefront. If anything, it almost feels like it's more of a block or more of an inconvenience than anything else. Yeah. And I'm seeing you as proactively finding ways to shift the energy. Because you're looking at this like either you've been waiting on this thing for a long time, or there's been some level of expectation that has gone unfulfilled. And it feels like it's this continual promise, oh, in the future, in the future, in the future. And it just hasn't happened. And you're kind of at this point, we've also been seeing this in the collective readings, the daily readings, where it's like, okay, well, at some point you can't just like wait on something forever. And as much as maybe I feel like this King of Cups would like you to, at the same time, it's not your vibe. Like you're starting to see things a little bit differently. And this is specifically related to like your prosperity, whatever that means. Like the things that make you feel good and strong and supported in your life. And that can just be as simple as like, you're seeing someone's toxicity, or maybe they've been really difficult to deal with, or a job is not vibing with you any longer. And no matter how you cut it, it's the same thing over and over and over again. And so instead, like midweek, and as we move to the middle of the week, things are starting to, continuing, I should say, to lessen in the astrology. So we get less tension. We have same amount of support. The support is more on the spiritual level right now, meaning like we really kind of just have to hold on to our beliefs, our values, believing that things will work out, like I was talking about in the very beginning with that grand trine, because and being open to what those possibilities are. Uranus is about our creativity. It helps us to approach things in a new way, in an inventive way, in a way that maybe we wouldn't right off the bat. And that is what I feel like is being emphasized through this Saturn overarching energy, is you have tools, right? Like I think whatever this knowledge is, you're gaining in it. Like you're finding some level of awareness, you're gaining information, you're getting a little bit more clarity. It's slow and steady. It's not everything right all at once. I don't know if it should be, because with this Seven of Swords, this is self-protection as well, right? Like, why do we hide? Why do we steal? It's because we're trying to protect ourselves, or we feel like something's not going to be working out for us. And you're seeing middle of the week that it can't work that way. And it actually has to just take that inventive approach, like I was talking about with Uranus. Right now, Uranus is in Gemini. So that goes back to that value of duality. Someone is extending the olive branch. Like someone's getting a message, someone's getting the hint. I feel like this is where that change is coming into play. Yeah, like things completely flip. Like in the beginning of the week, I feel like someone's like either, I don't want to say watching you. I don't want to say it in like a stalker kind of way. It doesn't have that vibe, but it's definitely like assessing your options. It can be as simple as like they're looking at your social media, or, checking in on you, whatever, from a distance, that type of vibe. But it looks like because they really want to make moves. And this definitely feels like an energy that you're not over and done with quite yet. And it looks like there are like positive things happening as a result of whatever they're contemplating. This might even be new for them, because it does look like they're lessening their defenses a little bit. I want to see why this is so difficult then, because it feels like it is moving in a positive direction. And let me look at this. Okay. Well, and maybe some of the work is not necessarily coming from you. I feel like your energy is more about disconnecting. It goes back to those original messages where it's like you can't just keep waiting around. And I feel like you are waiting on someone, or, both people have offenses, there's issues, period, right? Like if you've ever heard that, you're always going to be a villain in someone else's story. Unfortunately, we don't really like that. Our ego doesn't like that. The sun has been tensely aspected, and middle of the week, it is actually tensely aspected to Uranus. So when our ego gets in the way of like, no, I don't really want to do it, or they should know better, or they should be doing it this way. Maybe, but it's two different people, two different perspectives, two different understandings of things. Both energies have some level of like, this is not fair, or you did this, etc. And it's not so much about like throwing the offenses at each other, putting it in people's face. And I'm seeing that like better than this anyway, or like this is being revealed to you as the week is moving forward, because how it was moving in the past, it's not really working as much as maybe what it once was, you know? And we're seeing this as, like I was saying, the support in the astrology this week is more on the spiritual plane. So we're seeing this when we're trusting our instincts, when we're softening a little, not being so judgmental, approaching a situation with love, empathy, understanding. It doesn't mean you have to be a doormat, but I feel like that's where you're getting change. Okay, this says, this may take, okay, money is on the way. Money, success, prosperity. This may take the form of a promotion, windfall, new job, or a new way of making money. So this, to me, even if this isn't attached to money for you, if this is more a relationship or a situation or whatever, this feels like as you're making changes, that's when you're starting to see the success. That's when whatever the heartbreak is, whatever the sadness is that's been preventing this from moving forward or making this such a difficult situation, it starts to take a turn for the better. And like I said, it's weirdly like, okay, everyone wants to work together now. Like everyone wants to be friends with this Three of Cups energy. It's important, or it's valuable to everyone involved to you know, let's work together. Let's, you know, figure this out. And we're ending the week out with this healing energy. And like I said, end of the week, we have that new moon in Virgo. Virgo energy is earth energy, which really speaks to how we have stability, support in our life, the way that we call that in. Not only the way we call it in, but the way we cultivate it for ourselves. And Virgo is also about self-care, right? Like taking time to nurture yourself through your health and wellness practices. And that's really where we find healing. I think that this is not a situation, like I was saying, that magically flips, right? There is work to be done, and I feel like that's kind of where this knowledge is coming into play. I feel like that's also where Spirit wants you to stay open. And we're seeing this with the Seven of Cups energy. You might just be the person in this dynamic that like is more empathetic or is more understanding. You might have to be the healer. Not saying to take responsibility for someone else, but just approaching a situation with a little bit more healing, a little more love, a little more understanding. Because it does look like you have the upper hand, is what I'm seeing. You know, take it for whatever, however it fits. Maybe, and again, I'm hearing, yeah, because you have this Nine of Coins. So you're not, okay, like, as this situation has unfolded and you've separated yourself, like, it's saying that you're continuing to do so. Because end of the week, or as this energy progresses, you're not as attached to the outcome. You're open to ideas. You're open to potential. You're open to possibility. Who is this? Okay. And then people start kind of coming out of the woodwork. We'll be seeing this, you know, through November. Yeah, this is how like all of our readings have been going. It feels like, because we're being challenged on a lot of different ends in life right now, right? Like the challenges aren't just coming through one situation or one person or one facet of life. You know, we're being tested in a lot of different ways. And it just, like, there's this value of you releasing, having surrender, really focusing or putting the main focus on yourself, i.e. that Saturn and Neptune in Aries in retrograde. Like doing what you have to do for yourself in order to be strong, confident in the decisions and the choices that you're making, because that really is going to be the thing that carries you forward, and carries you forward in a very powerful way. Because like we've seen, you're headed towards prosperity. Even if in this moment, it's like, this is never going to end, right? It's going to be the same BS over and over and over again. I know that's not fun. And with all these people popping up, it totally would feel like that, right? Because like you have a lot of different things going on. And it can be really frustrating when one thing after another doesn't work. But it's basically showing, okay, so this child energy has been coming out a lot lately. being curious, being innocent, bringing in a little bit more joy, a little bit more naivete in the way that, not to be a doormat, not to be naive or ignorant, but in the way that like not everything is so harsh, so judgmental, so right, wrong, good, bad, right, wrong, good, bad, black and white. We don't want, so much of life is lived in the gray. And sometimes we can get sucked into these harder energies, the more negative energies, and believe that like it's never going to end, or those are our only options, or life doesn't get better, etc. And a lot of times we do just have to innocently connect with the joy, with the blessings, with the beautiful things of life. It might sound cliche, it might sound stupid or elementary, but it actually works, Like I was listening to something today and it was just like, a lot of times if we want to sit there and ruminate about something to work through it or process through it, great, but it only gets us so far. More often than not, we got to go out and do it and actually like make it happen. And yes, I'm a firm believer in balance, and I feel like that's exactly what is being restored to you, because there is difficulty. There is a lot of feelings. There is a lot of emotions that are attaching to whatever these dynamics are that are playing out, and it has gotten serious. Maybe it's been a little too serious for too long, but it's actually having this opportunity. The more that you surrender, the more you find your autonomy, the more you separate yourself from the chaos, from the drama, from the hubbub, get really clear on what you're thinking, on what you're feeling, having a little bit of fun, not making everything so like difficult all the time, the easier it's going to be to like open up and connect with this love. And then there's just like this outpouring. Sorry, there was like a bajillion cards that I pulled at the end, but there's just like this outpouring of people wanting to connect with you, wanting to reestablish. Hey, Blue Banana. Sorry. I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. But yeah, there's just this outpouring of people like wanting to connect with you. And it feels like this is something that's really like just honoring. It's honoring the work, the hard work that you've done. And you're approaching these situations with more strength, more knowledge is unfolding. Just because you don't have all the pieces this week, it doesn't mean you're not going to get them, There's a lot happening, even if it's not as apparent on the surface, because surface value, it's more the Saturn energy where we are going to have to be a little bit more vigilant about how we commit to doing the work. I know, I'm sorry. I know that's so unpopular, but the results are going to be beautiful if we do. And that really is the promise of Pluto moving into Aquarius. Yay. I enjoy everyone being here with me as well. I super appreciate you guys. Sorry, I've been stumbling over my words a little bit. I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. I super appreciate the channel and just being able to connect, upload the content. I love doing the readings. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear, or just say, hey, share in a little love, a little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. Please know it totally blesses my heart, and I'm sending that love and blessings back to you. Have a great weekend.